Chapter 1 Loss. Rayhan had always believed in the sanctity of family. His wife Rabu brought warmth and laughter to their small apartment, and their daughter Ayat filled the home with innocence and curiosity. Each morning, Ayat would tug at his sleeve, insisting they eat breakfast together, while Rabu's soft voice floated through the kitchen as she prepared their meals. To Rayhan, these moments were everything. Life, he thought, could not get better than this. But life has a cruel habit of shifting in a heartbeat. It was a rainy evening when the accident occurred. Rayhan remembered the piercing sirens, the smell of smoke, and the chaos that erupted around him. He had received a frantic phone call while at work, and within moments he was running toward the hospital, heart pounding with a terror he had never known. But when he arrived, the reality was worse than his imagination. Rabu and Ayat were gone. The doctors' faces were solemn, their words rehearsed and cold. A tragic accident, they said. A twist of fate, they said. Rayhan could not breathe. The world had been ripped apart. The days that followed were a blur. Family and friends offered their condolences, bringing casseroles and flowers, but their comfort felt hollow. Rayhan's grief was a storm that could not be soothed. Nights were the hardest. Alone in his apartment, he would sit on the edge of the bed, staring at the empty room, replaying the last moments he had shared with his wife and daughter. He remembered Ayat's laughter, her tiny hands reaching for him, Rabu's gentle touch and reassuring words. Memories that once brought joy now pierced him with unbearable pain. Yet amid the grief, something gnawed at Rayhan, a whisper of doubt. Details didn't add up. Eyewitness statements conflicted. Camera footage from the streets near the accident was missing, conveniently incomplete. The accident report was rushed, inconsistencies swept under the rug. A knot of suspicion grew in his chest. This wasn't just chance, something darker had happened. And if that were true, Rayhan knew he could not rely on the authorities. They either didn't see it, didn't care, or were complicit. Rayhan began his investigation quietly. During the day he went through files, accident reports, and public records, meticulously noting inconsistencies. At night he immersed himself in the digital world, learning skills he had never imagined mastering. Hacking forums, digital forensics tutorials, encryption guides, he consumed them all. Each line of code, each forum post, each tutorial built a new version of himself, one capable of uncovering the truth hidden beneath layers of deception. Sleep became a stranger. Days and nights merged as Rayhan traced calls, analyzed traffic patterns, and pieced together a puzzle that others claimed didn't exist. He studied the medical reports with a forensic eye, the car mechanics, the police records. Small anomalies, a missing timestamp, a misaligned report, a contradictory witness statement became clues. He meticulously recorded everything on boards, sticky notes, and spreadsheets. Every detail mattered. His mind, once solely devoted to love and family, was now consumed by purpose. But grief and obsession were intertwined. The pain fueled his determination, and the pursuit of truth became an outlet for his sorrow. Friends called him, worried about his health, his disappearance into work and computers, but Rayhan barely heard them. The world of ordinary life was gone. He was a man transformed by loss, now walking a path toward vengeance and justice. Rayhan remembered their last evening together vividly. Ayat had been curled up with her favorite storybook, pointing at the illustrations with her tiny finger and asking endless questions. Rabu laughed at her questions, teasing her gently, and Rayhan smiled, watching the two people who defined his world. That evening's warmth was now a dagger in his chest. How could a world that took them also continue without notice? How could the authorities ignore the gaps and discrepancies that screamed foul play? Questions without answers became fuel for the journey he was about to undertake. He would not accept the accident as mere chance. He would uncover the truth. Rayhan's life, once simple in content, had ended the day the accident took Rabu and Ayat. In its place rose a new life, one of vigilance, intellect, and relentless pursuit. The man who had loved with an open heart was now a shadow, a seeker, a force quietly assembling the tools he would need to confront a hidden and dangerous world. Each day, Rayhan honed his skills. He learned encryption, digital tracking, and data extraction. He explored every online network and server he could access, uncovering financial connections, suspicious communications, and security vulnerabilities. Every anomaly brought him closer to understanding the forces behind the accident. His grief had forged him into someone capable of extraordinary acts, and the weight of Rabu and Ayat's memory drove him onward. Soon the lines between grief, obsession, and purpose blurred. Rayhan could not eat, could not sleep, could not stop searching. The apartment, once a place of warmth and love, became his war room, covered in notes, photographs, timelines, and digital logs. Every lead mattered, every contradiction could unravel the conspiracy. Every discovery sharpened his resolve. The man who once lived for family now lived for truth, justice, and the memory of those he had lost. This was only the beginning. Rayhan's journey was not about mere investigation, it was about transformation. Grief had ignited something deep and unstoppable within him. A life defined by love and loss was about to evolve into one defined by power, strategy, and the relentless pursuit of vengeance. The accident had not just taken his family, it had awakened a force that would soon shake the foundations of those who dared to hide behind corruption and deceit. In the stillness of the night, Rayhan whispered their names. Rabu, Ayat. The words were both prayer and promise. He would uncover the truth, he would make the guilty pay, and when the world eventually realized the cost of their deception, it would be too late. The man who had loved and lost had become something far more dangerous. The shadows awaited him and Rayhan was ready to step into them. Chapter 2: Discovery. The days after the accident merged into nights as Rayhan immersed himself in investigation. Every detail he uncovered led to more questions, more suspicion. The official narrative, the accident they claimed, was too neat, too convenient. He studied the police reports with a critical eye, noticing inconsistencies that suggested deliberate omissions. Witnesses gave conflicting statements, and some could not recall key moments. Traffic camera footage, supposed to be routine, was mysteriously missing for crucial minutes. It was not coincidence, someone had orchestrated this. Rayhan realized he could not trust the authorities. If there was a cover-up, it was not a minor act. It involved powerful people who could manipulate evidence and silence witnesses. Financial links between vehicle manufacturers, insurance firms, and government contractors began to emerge. He saw faint patterns in transactions and phone records, all pointing to an unseen hand guiding events. His heart pounded with a mixture of fear and determination. The truth was buried beneath layers of deception, and he would uncover it. The first step was education. Rayhan had been proficient with computers, but now he needed expertise. He turned to the internet as his tutor, diving into hacking forums, reading manuals on encryption and cybersecurity, and studying the tools of digital investigation. Tutorials on tracing IP addresses, uncovering hidden communications, and bypassing security protocols became his textbooks. Each night, he pushed himself to learn faster, to understand deeper. His grief was the fuel. His mind, once idle, was now razor-sharp. Weeks passed as Rayhan built his skills. He began testing his abilities by analyzing minor security flaws in small financial networks, gradually gaining confidence. Every success emboldened him, every failure taught him caution. He mapped connections between corporations and government agencies, tracing money flows and digital communications that hinted at corruption. The accident that had stolen Rabu and Ayat from him now revealed a network of lies, greed, and manipulation. His family's deaths were not an isolated tragedy, they were a consequence of hidden power. Rayhan's days were consumed with research. He created timelines mapping phone calls, meetings, and transactions. He cross-referenced news reports and public records, searching for gaps and anomalies. Slowly, a pattern emerged. Those involved in the accident were connected to influential government figures and corporate entities. Names that appeared in financial filings, political appointments, and media reports formed a web he could barely believe existed. And at the center of that web was the orchestrated death of his family. The deeper he delved, the more dangerous it became. Rayhan discovered surveillance cameras monitoring streets, corporations, and even public spaces. Some had been tampered with, others were conveniently offline. Phone records had gaps, encrypted messages, and suspicious deletions. He realized the scale of the cover-up extended far beyond the accident itself. It was systematic, deliberate, and shielded by power. If he wanted the truth, he would have to step into realms most people never dared. Isolation became his companion. Friends and relatives worried about him, but Rayhan could not share what he had uncovered. The truth was too dangerous. Even small leaks could alert the conspirators, giving them time to cover their tracks. He worked in shadows, learning to hide his digital footprints while tracing others. He experimented with proxy servers, VPNs, and encrypt.